Thank you so much for talking to me. Can I just ask, can you introduce yourself and tell me how long have you been a vet for?
My name is Elena McWatt. I'm the head vet for Food Standards Scotland, and I've been a vet for 14 years now.
Can I ask you, how old were you when you first thought about being a vet?
I've always thought that I can help animals, and I wanted to save every single animal because we always had pets in the house, but I can't really pinpoint to a certain age, probably ever since I can remember, ever since I was a wee girl.
Before you went to vet school, what did you imagine being a vet would be like?
I just associated being a vet with working in a practice and having animals come to you and save them all, and that was pretty much it. Whereas now and during university, I've realized there are many aspects to the vet profession, and there are many career paths that you can actually take.
Can you talk a little bit about vets that you met and worked with early on in your career who stand out in your memory and why you remember them?
The vets that stand out are probably a couple of teachers, and the reason they stand out is because they are always enthusiastic about helping students and explaining further, and happy to have them during surgeries and in the clinical aspects. So to me, the support and the encouragement they showed, that really stuck with me.
Can you talk about, you've done a couple of different things since you graduated. Can you talk a little bit about the job that you had when you first graduated compared to what you're doing today as a vet, and what the sort of differences are?
So when I graduated in 2009, and that was back in Romania, I took a job as a sales representative for a company manufacturing feed additives, and the job involved learning about my products and driving around the country, seeing farmers and just trying to sell the products we had, and obviously explaining to them how the products worked inside the animals and what the benefits were, and how they, in the long term, they were actually saving money rather than spending more on additives. What I do now is completely different. I work in public health, and I oversee the delivery of official controls in Scotland in the meat industry. I also hold the role of an ambassador for the veterinary profession within FSS, so I'm trying to put FSS on the map as one of the largest employers of vets in Scotland.
And that's the Food Standards Service for Scotland, yeah. So can you talk a little bit about what the Food Standards Service is, what to do? It's not necessarily that you talked about official vets, people may not understand what the role is.
Food Standards Scotland employ around 300 people, and the official controls aspect and the official controls oversight represents about a third of what FSS does. But in this regard, we make sure all animals are properly inspected before being slaughtered. All meat and meat products are safe before being placed on the market. Consumers are informed of what every product is, the labeling is clear, and so on and so forth.
So within that, people may not realise then that if they're buying a Scottish meat product in a supermarket in Scotland, it's been through, the vets have been involved in every animal that's been killed, and that's not necessarily the same case in other countries for the meat that's imported. So say when you're buying your beef or your lamb or whatever here, you can be assured that there's been a vet involved in all the abattoirs in Scotland.
Yes, the same controls apply in the whole UK. So the legislation we apply, which is very similar to the European legislation which we've maintained after Brexit, means that every animal goes through an approved abattoir, every animal gets inspected by an official vet, animal welfare is safeguarded. If there are any issues, they get reported and they get properly investigated, and then every carcass and every meat product gets inspected, so everything is safe to be consumed. Imported meat should be of the same standard. Some countries may have a two-tier approach in relation to their exported meat and the one they choose to keep domestically. But everything that arrives in the UK should still be to the same standards as the one produced here.
Can I ask you, as you look back on your career, what have been the most rewarding aspects of being a vet for you?
For me, it's more about people, and that's why I've decided to do a master's in business administration. And my role now is more leadership than actually veterinary. But to me, being able to build my own team, instill a positive culture, one where staff are supported, encouraged to speak up. They're being offered a career progression opportunity, and they do the same in turn to the last official vet out there. That is the most rewarding thing for me.
So we talked a little bit before we started filming about the fact that we're all humans, we're all people, and the environments in which we work are really important. And you know, feeling supported or feeling that you're heard or that you have a voice.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about some of the surveys that have been done for your organisation and how well they've done. Can you talk a little bit about that and how recognised the culture has been?
Yes. Food Standards Scotland is a part of the civil service. And every year the civil service across the whole UK has a survey, so every civil servant is supposed to complete it. Completion rates are usually very high in FSS, so the results are quite accurate and insightful. And for the past 2 years we have performed extremely well, rating among the top 10 across the whole UK, and for the size of the organisation, probably one of the best performers in terms of engagement index and everything else that was touched in the survey, from culture, support from the line managers and the teams, how well everybody works within their team, bullying, harassment controls, and all these things have all scored very, very highly. And this is also evidenced in our retention levels, which continue to remain very high, probably above 90% at the moment.
Can I ask you, what are you most proud of accomplishing as a vet?
In 2019, FSS took the decision to directly employ official vets in Scotland, and I think that was a really positive change. I like to think I had an influence to that decision, and everything changed for the better from that point on. So I'm really proud of vets, official vets in FSS in Scotland being civil servants. Another thing I'm proud of is reviewing the whole training program for our official vets. In the past it used to be only 2 or 3 weeks of theory, and then they were having very little practical experience before being deployed to work on their own. Nowadays we do the training program first, which is 3-4 months of just training, and only after that, once we're satisfied that our OVs are equipped with all the tools they need to do the day-to-day work, and they're confident and capable, only then they get deployed on their own. So I think that's a huge positive change.
It's fantastic. Can you share any challenges or obstacles that you faced during your career and how you've overcome them?
Nothing in particular comes to mind, but I would say Brexit has had a huge impact on myself, on my team and the whole organization in terms of trying to adapt to all the changes that it brought. In addition, increased workloads, depleted workforce, and everything was kind of just the perfect storm. So that was a challenge in itself. A few months after, just followed by COVID and all the changes that brought, and different ways of working, and trying to continue to engage my staff through those times where all of us worked very isolated. That was really, really tough. But the way I overcome it, and everybody probably did the same, was just trying to work even closer together and work better within the team, and pull in the same direction.
How many abattoirs do we have in Scotland?
So we have 25 approved abattoirs. Some of them are quite small on the Western Isles. We have 6 abattoirs on the islands. The rest are on the mainland, and I would say around 10, 12 are larger abattoirs. The rest are different sizes.
Can I ask you, what attributes do you think help make great vets?
First one to me is passion. You need to be passionate about this profession. I don't think it's a profession that will make anybody rich unless they come up with some weird business case that. But you need to be passionate about the work of a vet, not only about the animals, but everything from engaging with owners, industries, abattoir, food business operators. So passion is one of them. Resilience, definitely. Vets and the profession need to be kinder to one another, and more understanding, and trying less to be perfectionists and get everything, perfectly done. And the last one to me is around soft skills and people skills, from engaging, communicating, wanting to support one another again. But it's all about how you engage with other people as a person.
It's interesting that you use the word perfection, because we did an interview with a recent graduate who talked about the challenges of the sort of personality that you need to get the high grades to get into vet school tends to come with some perfectionist tendencies.
Yeah.
And she's a first opinion practice vet, but she said it's really difficult to take that out into the day-to-day job. And then you've got to be able to compromise and accept that everything can't be perfect all of the time. You used the word resilience. Have you encountered situations where resilience played a crucial role in your career as a vet?
Again, I think it's very much around the time of Brexit and COVID, perfect storm that came upon all of us, and just having to adapt to very different workloads, very different ways of working and ways of engaging colleagues, line managers, everybody else. That tested, I think, everyone's resilience from both the personal and professional point of view.
I'm presuming that the service stayed open for the whole of COVID and that the food chain stayed intact, so you guys were working all the way through?
Yes, we had to put in place all sorts of measures to protect our staff, from wearing masks to every single detail, and every abattoir was different, so we had to induct them into the new ways of working, make sure everybody does everything right, mainly to protect them. Had to keep in touch with them regularly. We also audited our businesses to make sure they have proper COVID controls in place, and FSS has developed guidance for the food businesses on how to approach COVID and COVID controls. So.
If you were a teenager today considering veterinary as a career, what would you say to them, and what things would you suggest they did before applying to vet school?
I would say I would encourage people and kids to do their research and learn about all the different things a vet can do, and don't just focus on becoming small animal clinical vet. There are many other things to be done by a vet, and maybe not in the first year, but some are possible as a new grad. And I would say just get in touch with myself and anyone in the profession and ask questions and speak to other vets as well, and see exactly what being a vet is about, because it may not be as glamorous as some kids envisage it to start with.
Are there areas of specialization or emerging trends that you can see coming through that you would recommend exploring?
I don't think it's new, it's emerging in any way, but the public health aspect of the vet profession is quite unknown in the UK, and I encourage students and children to learn more about it, because, well, at least for me and quite a few people I know, it is a good career, and it's a lot more rewarding than other career paths, I would say, and it might be quite suitable and inviting for other people, but I don't think many students in the UK know about all the avenues in the public health that a vet can take.
And that's, you know, one of the reasons that we're doing this interview is to try and, I guess, raise awareness and give some sense of the breadth of things that you can do with a degree and the different aspects. You know, and we're talking obviously about, you know, the vet involvement from the route from the animal in the field into the abattoir and then into the supermarket and onto the plate. But also we've talked in other interviews about zoonotic diseases and the links between things like avian flu has been a thing this year, and the connection between animals, the diseases they have, and public health as well. Attrition rates from the veterinary profession are around 30 to 50% within 5 years of graduation at the moment. What are the factors that have kept you going as a vet throughout your career?
The organizational culture within the organization I am in just now. I've been with FSS for close to 9 years, and I am an advocate for it. I think it's a great place to work. Obviously the salary and the package of benefits and terms and conditions also matter quite highly. I wouldn't say just the salary, I would say the whole package of benefits. So I'd encourage everyone to read their employment contracts and make sure there is life-work balance in anything they sign up to do. Put passion in everything they do. But yeah, organizational culture is what keeps people in place, and the support they find within their teams and their peers.
And we've talked a little bit again before we started filming about you know, the world is changing and people do want more of a work-life balance, and some of the sort of archetypal icons of veterinary, like James Herriot, that we would have had when I was growing up, that people want to, you know, they want to do other things with their life as well, and they want to have some leisure time or some family time and, you know, just some time off. And it sounds like you've got that within the food standards, the job.
Yes, you do. At the moment, the employment contracts are 37 hours full-time. At the moment, we're trialing a well-being hour, so basically it's only 36 hours a week, with a view to drop to 35 from October 2024, and that's a full-time job. Any hour extra would be paid additionally. In terms of the package of terms, conditions and benefits, we have probably one of the best pension schemes across the whole UK, with employer contribution from 27% upward. We have 5 to 6 weeks annual leave, all the public and privileged days off as well, so that adds up to 2 months in a year off. A lot of the contracts are compressed hours, so our vets work only 4 days a week, 9 hours a day. We don't do on-call. Weekend work is only for one abattoir, or any ad hoc work that they might require. We have very good sickness leave, maternity leave, all sorts of civil service benefits that are open to all our vets. So all in, when you draw the line, it's not all about the salary, which, by the way, we also have a pay supplement in place at the moment, which is extra £4,000 a year for every one of our OVs. So it all adds up, and the salary matters, but it doesn't matter that much, or everything matters.
It's the overall package.
It's the overall package, yeah.
What do you think needs to change in the Scottish vet profession currently to make it better?
There's a few things I would say. First of all, the profession needs to unite and everyone to pull together to the common goals. I think at the moment we work in competition with each other to some degree. The public sector against the private one, the clinical work against the public health roles, and so on and so forth. At the moment, there are simply not enough qualified vets that want to work as a vet within the UK and within Scotland, so immigration rules have to allow to bring in other vets, and they do at the moment, but they are quite convoluted, and there's many hoops and loops that you need to go through to employ someone from abroad, especially within the civil service. Once we get all the vets in the system, then that would ease the pressure on the existing workforce, because the more you're pressed, the more you ask the ones you still have in place to work additional hours and to do more, and people burn out. So it's about improving what we have and protecting what we have, rather than continuing to burn out every single vet in the UK.
Thank you.